Howdys and salutations, y'all! We're back at it again with Swordtember. Maybe, we'll see. Is that what I put as the stream title? I don't actually know. One moment, let's double check that. Stream info. Hey, it's actually correct. Okay, close enough. Close enough to accurate. That's right, what we're going to do is a bit of a Swordtember speedrun. Howdys and salutations once again. We'll just get a fresh start there. Anyone who may have missed it earlier, consider yourselves properly howdied and salutationed, if you will. And, yeah, we'll just jump right into it, methinks. Let me close that. Cool. Okay. So, what I've been thinking, I know that Swordtember, I definitely burned out on it a little bit. Not all the prompts are stuff I necessarily want to do, and while they've been excellent creative art practice, they also burned me the heck out. So, rather than dedicating a couple hours every night to try to make a wonderful, beautiful sword, which, again, quite fun, but I can't do that on top of my day job, on top of keeping up with all the other adulting things and whatnot. So, instead of doing that, I figured let's pick out a couple of the fun prompts from the past week. Weeks, plural at this point. Yeah, close enough. And let's give ourselves a time limit. So you may notice the new timer up in the top left. It's a new feature. May even make that a little larger. Yeah, that's right. It's from timer-online timer. You caught me. You know my secret. No, but it's fine. Let me guess that's how that works. Cool. Well, we'll have ourselves a nice little, a nice big 30 up there. And we'll set that going once we do these, and start to finish, I have done a little brainstorming in advance for a couple of these, because I, wanted to do that. But start to finish, we're going 30 minutes, no more, no less. Okay, maybe less. It's acceptable to go less. I doubt that's going to be a problem. Somehow I have a sneaking suspicion that's not going to be the issue we have. But we're just going to keep at it. We're going to see how many of these we can do. Oh, let's see. Oh, that one I actually probably have a ref for. But yeah, I'll pull up refs as needed. Probably ought to populate pure ref with some of those actually. So maybe if y'all give me just a half a moment, I'm gonna pull a couple of those in. And we're just gonna nab those real quick. Scoot some of this stuff out of the way. So enjoy the music. I'll keep here talking, narrating. Because we got a few interesting ones, and I'm curious if y'all figure out which prompt goes with what. Let me pop open pure ref too. My word, we can't do pure ref without having pure ref. So we'll even throw this on here. And I will update the overlay to actually identify it. This one. Yeah, that one. Cool. So item number 1 from our prompt list, and I hope I'm not getting over ambitious with this. We'll see. But it's the wonderful Treachery of Images. A fun little piece. It's an art piece that I like. Both the concept of it is fun and it looks nice, and I think it'd be fun to do something utterly silly with it. So that's number 1. Then number 2 is, let me look up. Let's see what we got here. I'm thinking an old school 6-shooter from the old West, something like that. Not from Fortnite. Well, specifically not the Fortnite Nerf gun. Not what I'm aiming for. I guess that revolver is that. That makes sense because it revolves. Well, this will be a nice reference for what we need. Let me throw this one in here. Yeesh, got very big. I don't know if we can actually show those on stream. I assume so. There's like a million games. That's probably fine. Let me Google something real quick. Okay, so you can't use them to intimidate people. Cool. I have no intention of that. I assure you that is not happening in a million years. Okay, next thing I wanted to look up was right. Definitely a logical item to search. along with these, we've got, it's not a pipe, we have a 6-shooter, and I think the next thing we need is a lovely old broom. Not a Halloween broom, mind, just like a normal broom, please. Okay, maybe not that old, just not like a modern one made of orange synthetic bristles. Okay, maybe I should just Google broom. These are all, well, okay, these aren't too modern. There's some classics. Come on. Let's see, what was the prompt for that one? Ah, right, okay, so yeah, let's go with the old school then. Home Depot, don't fail me now. Cool, we got ourselves a broom. And the last thing is, honestly, we'll leave it at that. The other thing I can wing, and that one's a horrible idea, and I shouldn't try to do it in 30 minutes. So, we've got ourselves our 3 pieces here. They don't make any sense relative to each other, and I assure you they probably won't make any sense in context either. But I think we've got three blades that we're going to attempt to illustrate here today. Attempt very much being the key word. There we go, we got our stuff there. Let me get all my layout sorted back out. And sorry for the slightly late start, sometimes you gotta do stuff with family, and that's nice. So I went and did that. But yeah, let's keep on keeping on. Always worth spending a little time with the folks, I think so anyway. So let's jump on in here. Our first prompt is related to none of these reference images, but I do want to have them ready for the future ones. Because this one is hidden. And there's a million fun ways to do hidden. I'm not going anything too crazy with it. I know sometimes I get a little bit out there with our ideas. And I have no regrets, for the record. You can never tell me that a Tootsie Pop is the wrong way to make a sword. I will fight you. But we'll keep on keeping on there. Hopefully audio is still good, by the way. I know we adjusted that a wee bit last stream, but I really don't know for sure. I've yet to find a great audio solution. So pending that, we're just going to make do with what we got. I'm going to drink some water, so maybe I can stop saying Okie dokie. Now, let's get that timer going, wherever the heck I put it. I know it's on stream, but, where did I put it? Where is it? Okay. Oh, good. Right behind my reference images. Very, very helpful spot. Thank you. Whoop-a-doo. Oh, nope, it's peeking in. Nope. Y'all got a glance of it for a second. That's fine. We are just gonna... I have no idea if y'all are gonna hear it when it finishes, but you will probably... Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll do the audio preview. How about that? We'll have a little fun. We'll do the audio preview. Whoops. There we go. Putting that out of the way for the time being. Timer audio preview. Hopefully y'all could hear that. I suspect I'm going to want to put that on repeat. Also, this website is insanely loud. I put it on 25% and it's only just reasonable. Okay. Then we are about to get going. We're going to click start in 3, 2, and 1. There we go. It is live. We'll put this a little bit out of the way, and we will get back at it. Okay, so prompt number 1 is hidden. Yeesh, this is not the color I need for that. Okay, let's see. I think I want reds, greens, and a gold tone. Good, this palette's got exactly what I need. Thank you to A Nice Room from Low Spec. I don't have the original creator, unfortunately, on here, but the Low Spec site is wonderful, and I highly recommend this palette. It's been pretty fun so far. Let's let's use this one because I don't think let's just use a plain black for our penciling in. And I am going to do a little penciling in on this. I know I always do, but it's handy. So what? We got that. And yeah, we'll actually use the pencil. So coming down here, You know what else we could use? Ooh, okay, something I learned in our sort of off time while we were taking a pause is a little bit more about the symmetry ruler. Namely that it's a little basic, but it can work. Also how to remove it, because for whatever reason that's really stinking hard to do in Clip Studio Paint. Okay. So for hidden, I was thinking it'd be fun to just go kind of the old school plain invisible blade, you know? Like, I know it's not a new idea at all, but I think it's an intriguing one. Definitely not a new idea. Dark Souls had a spell for it way back when, and I know it existed and stuff before even that. So we'll just have a little fun, make ourselves a nice little elegant hilt. That's the fun part of this prompt is that it gives us a chance to have some fun with the hilt. That's really the reason I want to do it. We can just do some silly stuff with this. This is a vector layer, so I can do a little bit of casual erasing and be okay. I guess with the mirror, we also don't need to worry too much about that. And we'll just sort of do, well, we're roughing in the perspective. I'm not doing a whole lot of precision perspective on this one. And we'll keep on keeping on, but let's make sure we're doing it right. There we go. That's looking a little better. Previewing up in, well, I guess y'all can't see the top left behind the reference images. Let me scoot those out of the way just a tad. There we go. Scoot it out of the way. So looking up there just to make sure it looks halfway decent in that view. So far, so decent, although the diamond here is coming out, whoops, coming out a little too far. Let's bring, whoop, that's basically the same place. Come on, line, work with me. There we go, that's about right. So we've got that. And I'll just pencil this one in the brown, because I figure that's going to be probably close to the final color. The black is not going to be the final color for this. And the realization that I put this entirely too close to the edge of the page. Whoops. I mean, that's fixable. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay. And then the other piece is that making this look more like a little bit of a dagger than anything else, but that's fine. Is I want just like a little glint at the end. And I don't think I'm even going to want the symmetry part of that. So I can remove just that. Maybe we even don't go quite as far as this. We can just have like a little bit of something. I feel like this is definitely going to be on a dark background, this one. This feels right for this blade. And we can sort of have... Right. I guess if we want to make sure that the angle looks halfway believable, that's about right. We can have a little bit of a glint on this one too. Well, we won't hold it to it exactly, but there's that. I guess the glint probably ought to be on the same side, really. We'll just leave it at that. How are we doing on time? 5 minutes down. We're still kind of in the sketch phase. I'm going to want to get a move on this. Okay. And then we got shapes in pretty well. Yeeps. I'm stuck in the eraser mode, but that's fine. We haven't done that nearly as much lately as we used to. They were improving, bit by bit. I don't know why I'm cleaning up lines on the sketch. Let's move on. Step 1 of moving on, for the record, is going to be grabbing this. Just all of it. Oh, jeepers. Okay, a little weird with the symmetry tool. I'm just shrinking it, but I still need it to be centered. That's going to be awkward. I think that, yeah, that's right. You've got the point there. We've got these two. I can still move it a little. Move it up. Okay. We can actually. Okay, so really all I need to do is this. It's like an urn. We can scoot this a little further back too. Not quite that much further back though. This really is turning into more of a dagger than a sword, but that's okay. Last little bit of sketching in, and then we'll get to the right stuff, because we're about 6 minutes in. Got our point there. And do something like that, maybe. That's kind of a cool design. I mean, it's an easy one with the symmetry tool, but yeah, it's fun. Okay. Rough sketch. Probably didn't need to bother with that. Let's do some actual like lines with this, shall we? I don't want it to be too heavyweight. We'll go 3-point, and let's get our real colors in here now. So thinking about our golds, I'm probably gonna. This is a fine tone. On a different layer, mind. But it's a fine tone. I guess the ruler is per layer. Cool. That does explain some other things I'd read, so yes. Still, I would like it back if possible. Cool, there we go. And for anyone wondering how I'm keeping it so level, if you hold shift while you're dragging any lines like that, or like this tool, like the line tool, it snaps it to 45-degree angles around. Makes life a lot easier when you've got that trick. But I don't need those there, I need them elsewhere. So, looking at this, I'm just gonna millipen it by hand, I think. Don't need anything crazy. We'll just make this a little smoother. I say as I draw the wobbliest wobbles ever to be wobbled. Oy, oy, oy. Okay, and that should be smooth back there too. Means not going overboard on the bump on the other side. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix this one again. There we go. Quick lines, quick lines. Quick lines with a little bit of thought, maybe. Maybe that's the better approach. Quick lines, but still think. I like the idea of an assassin's blade that is still resplendent in gold, as though they do not take any shame in the plans. They know what they're about. They're proud of it. Makes them a much more intimidating foe if you were to encounter them in, say, Dungeons and Dragons, you know? At least that's my thoughts. Okay, and we can do this. And this isn't going to make sense at first, but I promise it will eventually. Although honestly, even that's not terrible, but no, it'll be better once we remove the symmetry, I assure you. But that's for another phase. For now, I think that we're going to have a little bit of fun with our colors. Because yeah, okay. Now let's lean into it a little more. That'll do. We can lose a little bit at the end, maybe. We'll see. Go ahead and save. It's been a hot minute since we've done that. We ought to do it again. Ought to not be quite connected. Are we doing 1/3 of the way through our time? Man, it's a messy run of this, that's for sure. Let's have another go at this and maybe actually trace the reference that we so wisely made earlier, like literally 5 minutes ago. My opinion on this hasn't changed that much in 5 minutes that I can't use my own reference, has it? No, but apparently my skill to follow lines has. Come on. Good enough. Let's see. Could have some creative. We want to add some blood to that. We'll see. Let's Step next, though, I stand by that numbering system. Step next is proper gem here. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. That's probably should just be a straight line, and thus should not be done while the symmetry ruler is on and betrays my every move. Ay ay ay. Wild how much drift I get doing that. Too big. When the lines line up, you know it's aligned true. Okay, moving back to this. I think we'll have a little bit of fun with this part. Oi. There we go. That's a little bit of fun there. And last up, just a few little diamonds in here. Not the gemstone. Just, I guess, rhombus. Y'all remember in math? Gotta bring the rhombus back. Ooh, I hope y'all didn't get that feedback I just heard in my headset. Maybe it's a haunted rhombus. Or there's a ghost that's very mad about my slightly out-of-date math terminology. I do apologize, it's been a little while. Hey, we can make that line a little better. Maybe this one a little bigger too. There we go. Probably only need the 4. Yeah. Gonna have to erase that all on the other side too, because the eraser ain't mirrored. It's not in my current settings. I'm sure there's a way to do it. CSP seems to have a little bit of everything. Let's see. You know what? I'm realizing I need to go a step further on these, but with the correct shade of brown, preferably. I promise this will make sense in a minute. Although actually, once again, the mirrored weave doesn't look bad. But the actual weave is going to look really cool, so. We'll leave it at that, because we're at about the 15-minute mark, and I want to get to some flats in here so we can do some shading, because I think that's where this will pop. So hide the sketch. Select object, ruler. Delete the ruler. Save. And then let's do a little bit of line work cleanup, and then we're getting to colors. Line work cleanup, no more than, I guess, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Oh, right, I'm on the wrong tool. That's why I can't pan. There we go. Step 1, erase straight lines, like these ones. And this one. Step 2, on the weave, erase alternating sides. And any straight lines, but once I figure out the alternating sides bit first. You know, this looked better in my head and my sketchbook. What did I do different? Oh, the weave is more overcrossed on this one? That's interesting. Well, I'll have to look into some other weave stuff a little later, maybe, but for now... Oh, and then it just got crazy down here. I don't know what happened. Oh, I missed when the symmetry tool... When did I accidentally erase this? It was probably an embarrassingly long time ago. That's good enough. Save. Remove straight lines. Think about where the heck these lines should be going. Probably like that. And each one... Okay, maybe if I clear up some of the nonsense with it. Doop, 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 doop. think the overlap got a little too wild. Well, you know what? I'm going to come back to that one later. I want to make sure all the other line work looks decent, because frankly, a little bit of wildness on the leather handle isn't actually that bad. It gives it a little bit of character. For example, I don't think we want that one over here, and I don't think we want the back of this showing. In fact, well, no, I want the blade to be invisible. But it would be interesting to have it just sort of cut off right where the edge should be. Experiment time with limited time to go, but worth it, maybe. Just imply that it's there. Actually, I like that. The idea that there's something there. It does sort of ruin the invisibility, but it's intriguing. It makes it more of like a cloak or a mask, which is fast. I think is a fun take on it. Let's just fill the background with dark, shall we? Hey, makes everything feel a little neon when you go this dark for the background. Maybe we want the slightly softer one. Better. I like that. Okay. How are we doing? Oop, okay, about half of our time is up for this. Let's do our quick line cleaning, and then we'll come back to the hilt, because I care about... I don't know what I just did. Care about the gold part looking snazzy a lot more. Kind of like what that's doing to it. I like it enough that it's fine for our quick little experiment, you know? These are actually looking okay, as is. And we'll see if we even need the glint down here, or just the one at the end. We'll do a little test with that at some point. Let's see. I do want to do some line connecting, because I think that'll clean up some of the last remnant-y bits. That always handles that weird. That's fine. That's fine. Connect the point, smooths them out. Connect the point, smooths them out. I kind of like the weird point there, though. Want to connect those. Make sure we're good there. Gemstone looks shockingly decent, as is. Oh! A little more simplify along this line. That's the one that need it. Instead of haphazardly doing that, let's just get a bigger brush and do it all in one go. Nice! We can simplify those just into pure lines. Connect on this end and this end. Boom! That's looking a little wibbly, but much cleaner than it did before. Okay. And again, I'll fix that part in a minute. But when you're on the timer, you just got to make quick decisions and live with them. And I'm actually, this is actually pretty fun. We're going to have something decent at the end of this. Not great, but decent, you know? Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and throw this to like 60% fill. That way we've still got some contrast. Aye! Closed shapes not found. Okay. Like I said, I'm sort of banking on shading for this one, which is a risky play. Like, I should have cleaned up these diamonds a little more, but we ain't got the time. Whoops, let's leave that back where it was, maybe. Pop back into layer 3. Something a little bit clean. Whoops, nope, that was the wrong tool. It's a neat tool, but it's not the one we're using at the moment. And let's go back to our fill layer. And hopefully it is very fulfilling. Hey, that was a stupid pun. Okay. Even by my standards, that was a poor showing. I apologize. Okay. A little bit more of the vector repair, methinks. Vector repair might mean breaking them worse. We'll see. It seems to about 50% of the time. If I just go along the edge, is that going to destroy anything or even work? Nope. Okay, cool. That's fine. snap a control point and extend these on a little bit. That's fine. Just close our area, clean up loose ends. See, this is the kind of nitpicky thing I should not be doing when I'm on a time limit. We ain't gonna finish if I do this. So what I am gonna do is just take the fill tool and go at it and hope no one notices that the weave gets weird near the base. They probably won't. Not when it's all colored in of a similar tone. And I do think we may end up wanting something similar up here. Just fill this one. Fill some of the niches. Cool. I don't think we're going to want this one at the base, honestly. I'm coming around to just not having it. Just having the gap is enough to imply what's going on, and then the weird little point at the end. It's sufficiently ominous, methinks. Okay, now if I make the fill layer 100%, and I say hide the line work, and why is it always got to have gaps? That's fine. Let's bring back the line work. Honestly, the colors still kind of work, and it's not going to be an issue until I attempt to shade things. So, let's just drop this down a hair. And let's add a molt layer, and we'll just do a little bit of quick shade, quick shade, quick shade. Because we got 7.5 minutes for our shading. And what I really ought to do, actually, no, I got it. We can make this work. Because this is a pre-built color palette, this shouldn't be molt. I'm still going to clip it. That's still going to be handy. But let's just use our selection pen, make it a decent size. Where the heck did the sizes go? What did I do? That's what I did. This should be down here. Gotta go fast. Come on, Sonic. I think for the diamonds, I can just do this. Because I'm just adding a... Whoa, not rectangle select, my word. That ain't the right one at all. Polyline, that's what I want. Just fill this with the highlight. Give it a little bit of a gleam. And with our first one, we have established a light source off to that side. Oops, let me undo. We should fill this with the highlight for the proper color, methinks. Cool. And we'll just do some more of this. I think I can probably polyline most of the stuff up here. Fill it like that. And then lasso up the edge a little bit. Oh, we don't have to go crazy on that part. Sort of a similar crescent deal. Hey, Beat Block, this is a fun song. Okay. That'll do for that. And then in terms of highlights, I guess that would mean we'd probably have a decent one over here. Actually, we should probably have the shadow of the blade ought to cast over here a little bit. Which I don't think I'm going to be able to render in 5.5 minutes. But at the very least, I can make the highlight not where you'd expect it to be a little bit. And you know, if we weren't timing this, we wouldn't have even gotten to the phase where we're thinking about that sort of stuff until, like, the last 30 minutes anyway, so. A few sloppy highlights there, but let's get some actually decent ones on this. I'm thinking back to our polyline here. Give us some sharp angles. Fill there, cool. I like what that's doing. Let's see. I'm gonna add like a little bit of shade on these even. We ought to do that in one piece on the future ones. One Piece. It's real. I don't know anything about One Piece. Should I research? Is that one worth reading or watching or both? I don't know enough about it. Oh dear, 4 minutes. Another time, maybe. Sure. Small, it doesn't need a ton of detail. And with the lines, it'll hide more egregious mistakes. Let's see, we don't have a shade for the red. I don't want to add anything too crazy over there. I think that's fine as it is. I do have a shade for the gold. Oh, we could have a little fun with that. Let's see, we've got our glint over there. All I really want, per se, is the, oops, yeah, not polyline, sorry. We're definitely going to want to lasso this one. A little bit of an ominous shadow over here. A shadow not cast by anything, just to see if that gets the viewer's attention a little bit. And we'll see. And for this one, all I've got is a little bit of highlight, and I probably don't want a sharp highlight over here, but I definitely... so I guess lasso's the tool for it. We'll try to simulate kind of the different layers of the leather. And the weird texture of the leather. We'll see if that comes across at all. Not with the lines there, it don't. Actually, it's at a distance, it's not terrible. True of most things, though. 2 minutes left. Okay, final touches, if any. I assume removing the line work is actually not terrible. I kind of dig that. Gives an interesting curvature, leaves more questions. Okay, new decision. We're ditching the line work. Which is almost certainly a regrettable decision. Especially at this phase in the game. But, you know... oh wait, no, not the shade layer. I need the base layer. We can just do a little bit of patchwork here. So much one could do with more time, but also so much one would have failed to even get to with more time. This is a fun prompt. This is one of the swords that it might be fun to actually explore in a little more depth, but it's nice to know that now, and not way late in the game. Okay. A little bit of just stuff there, that's fine. I'm really just trying to fill any obvious gaps at this point. I realize this is going to be a wee bit pixelated, especially on a large scale, and the shading looks rough, to say the least. In fact, you know what? That's where we're going to spend our last 30 seconds. Can we clean up the shade a little bit? Mainly this one. This one's the most obvious, like, awkward. Oh, maybe because it lands bad. 15 seconds? Okay, come on, come on, come on. Let me... Where's my selecty tool? Selecty tool. Polyline. Ah, with the lighter color. Boom. Hey, okay, pencils down. Pencils down. Oh dear, I have to make it stop that now. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I get it, I get it, I get it. Okay. Okay, and final review. You know, obviously, with more time, we'd have more polish, but that's not terrible for a quick little draw. No, not at all. The only thing is the hidden blade actually makes it look like it's just got a curve to it, which is actually kind of a cooler design. Yeah, I mean, again, there's more one could do with hidden. But as far as things go, that's not bad at all. Okay, let's do a little bit of layering. Background. sketch. Oops. Flats. That's just our flat colors, no shading or anything, and then the shade on top of it, and then lines. And for the record, with lines, also not bad. Oh, actually, one thing I do want to look at, we were at 84. If we toss line work and we go at full opacity, that's pretty nice. If we keep the line work, still pretty nice. Actually, yeah, at full opacity, the line work just cleans up the edges. Okay. I'm okay with tweaking little settings like that. Only thing it does weird is here, but honestly, that was going to look awkward regardless with that kind of reflective as a leathery surface, so... Yeah, okay. You know, now with the line work actually still on there, I'm actually quite happy with how this one turned out. Sure, the angles are a little awkward, and a little more shading on the gold would give it a lot of depth, but, like, for a first run, 30 minutes, and then we've just got a sword, that ain't bad. Okay, so, you know what that means. We're dumping all these in a folder. Create folder and insert layer. And that prompt was hidden. You know, I think that one turned out pretty well, actually. And again, I love this color scheme because you've got I can't speak highly enough of a nice room. Like, you've got a pretty wide palette of colors, but they all just look decent together. Except for this black, which I don't even remember if that was in it or not, or if that was just me. But either way, like, having a soft background that isn't the black is nice. Yeah, adds a layer of class, I gotta say. But now we're gonna have to let hidden live up to its name and put it away. Fresh start, fresh timer. Let me set up some new layers real quick. Click out of the hidden. Sure. Got ourselves a flats layer and a sketch layer. But I ain't labeling stuff until I put stuff on it because I end up changing my mind about what I'm doing halfway through anyway most of the time. So let's look at which one we want to do next. I've got some where the premise is really dumb, and some where it's fun but dumb. Look, that's my thing with these swords. If it's just a straightforward, simple design, that's When executed well, those are amazing, but we're doing 30-minute sketches, so it's more fun if we've got something silly to work with. Because the result's going to be silly no matter what. So I think the next one we ought to do is... So one of the prompts was dual purpose, as in more than one purpose, but I feel like the purpose should be a dual. And now you may have guessed why we have a revolver in our references. So let's bring our attention to that a little bit, because I'm going to want that at a decent size. Can I rotate this? Give me a second. Images, align, arrange, normalize. Oh, that's actually handy. Sure there's a way. Not actually sure there's a way. It's a fairly simple tool. It's a really nice, handy tool, but it's fairly simple. So let's have a little fun with our size here. Once again, this is pure ref. It's free, or you can pay for it. It's sort of like Bandcamp or some of those other sites where you can pay what you want. Really handy reference to have, I gotta say. Love this thing. Absolutely phenomenal. So, we're just gonna keep on going. And by the way, I should mention, for anyone who's new to the stream, before we start the next one, is backseating is certainly open. I'm certainly, like, y'all can throw whatever nonsense at me. I'm learning. My hope is that watching someone learn means that you'll learn the process with me. Sort of a, not beginners leading beginners, but you see the learning process, and so you see the steps that I have to figure out, as opposed to with an expert tutorial. Sometimes they're so expert that they forget how the basics worked and they can't explain it well. So I'm trying to follow, I'm trying to learn. I've got a little bit of knowledge that I'm passing on. Mostly not with digital art, though. So I'm learning the digital interface, passing a few tips and tricks along the way, figure some stuff out as we go, and, you know, y'all are more than welcome to throw advice my way if I'm doing something wrong. Feel free to say that I'm doing it stupid and I should stop. It's very likely the case, because, like I said, we're figuring this out as we go. And hopefully, I hope that's not covering, it's covering the brush size picker. I don't think that's the most important thing. But yeah, hopefully y'all are getting some benefit from watching along too. So, next up we've got Revolver. Well, the prompt is dual purpose, but I'm using the other meaning of dual, so let's see, what colors do we, well, I shouldn't think about colors too much. I want to just make sure the lineup is ready. I'm going to put like a moment's thought into the colors. We've got the brown for the stock. We could go more brown and gold again. I feel like we're getting redundant, so we could go for sort of like a gunmetal gray. That's what we've got a lot at the top of this palette. In which case, a different background, maybe a green background, would be a good option, or maybe one of the reds. That'd be bold. Okay, I'm going to set a tentative background. See, I'm glad I didn't call this flats because I think I'm just going to fill it with red. That's pretty ominous. We could go for the paler, kind of a peach tone. We could also go for a green. A lot of options, I'm kind of feeling the peach tone, actually. So, because I don't think we're going to use that anywhere in this design. So then let me pull the timer back out, set it going, and we're going to be off. Boom! Timer is counting. And I'm going to put it away, and we're going to jump right back in here. So feel free to backseat the heck out of me while I do a terrible sketch of this, because these are not my area of expertise at all. That's why we have a reference. And I'm not, obviously I'm not tracing the reference or anything, but results may vary. Oh, right, I'm on the fill tool, that's the problem. So I probably don't want to spend more than like 5 minutes on the sketch. And I don't want this to be crazy, I just want the general mechanics of this to be correct. Oh good, oh dearie me, we don't have great contrast on this part? That's fine. There, that's fine. Then for the gunmetal we can, okay, that'll be a good highlight. I think I'll steer away from the blues and actually aim for more towards the actual grays. Seems right to me. I'm sure someone has made an actual weapon like this, because I've seen much more ridiculous things. I don't know if y'all know, but the Tower of London has a weapon that is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm sure there's a way to use it that's smart, but it feels like a million accidents waiting to happen. Like, so many. It's so bad. It's such a bad idea. Because it's like a gun axe, but the stock of the gun is the axe. So if that thing has any kickback at all, it's like hitting your arm immediately. And otherwise, while you're wielding an axe, you have a gun pointing directly down, which means every time you swing, the gun is pointed at you, like the barrel. So, like, in terms of design choices, it just seems like it may have been ever so slightly misguided. And I really hope that it was used in some battle somewhere and was like super effective, but I kind of doubt it. Okay, yeah, just trying to get the main components, main shapes here. We can give that more of a curve. I kind of like, honestly, this is a nice looking device with the sort of the cascading curves on it. That's elegant. I'm not going to be able to recapture that, not with any great precision, especially not if I'm not using the vector eraser. Okay. I won't worry too much about the physics of this, because they're about to get much stupider in a second. Because y'all may be asking yourselves, the prompt isn't guntember, it's swordtember. And to that I say, you're correct. And that's why this isn't just a gun. It's for the ultimate duel of, I don't know, the mid-18th century, or 1800s rather, not the 1700s. It just feels like the kind of nonsense that they would use. Okay. We've got the blade, which I'm probably just going to continue all the way into this piece. And then we'll have the actual barrel down here. Looking at the angle, we're actually going to be able to see into it a little bit, so I probably shouldn't have done a different angle from the reference image, but that's what we're doing. Let's think about this. Let's not tilt the barrel up, or else it's going to shoot directly into the blade of the gun. The blade of the gun. What am I saying? Oops. Are y'all getting feedback on that? I don't know. I adjusted the sound, and now I'm occasionally getting a little bit of feedback. I hope that's not transferring through to y'all. let me know if the audio sounds like stinking awful or anything like that. Okay, we'll just get some quick stuff in there. And of course, because it wouldn't be, gotta have the site way down there. Okay. I think that's enough for our sketch because, again, time is of the essence. I'm going to try soft green background fill instead. See if that gives us a different vibe. Better contrast, but it makes my eyes hurt. Warmer green background. Looks like an IKEA bed. I'll take it. Much warmer. Now the grays are fading into it. Oops. Sure. Kelly green. It's a little darker than Kelly green. It's got a hair more blue, but it's close enough. Okay, sketch layer, dropping down the opacity. Let's get ourselves some final lines. Or liens, apparently. Close enough. We've got our mid-gray. I'm gonna go for some fairly thin line work on this one. The three worked well on the last one, honestly, and maybe we just keep that up. And let's see, looking at the design, I want this connected to the barrel. Okay with that just being basically a bayonet. We want this at the 3 as well. And let's just try to get this like a smooth... Then straight over here. I'm okay with that coming to sort of a point. We've got like an opening in here that makes this a little more complicated. Got a little carried away on the single line there. Let's erase a little bit. Approach this with more confidence. And yeah, there we go. This is going to connect here as well. There we go. That's a straight line. Why can't I do that every time? I'm excited to do it at least even once, honestly. I used to think drawing circles was the worst thing ever, and it's not great, but man, if you want a straight line, I know so many tips and tricks and things for it, and it still just doesn't happen sometimes. Okay. Got this piece, and then we've got the actual trigger back here. Keeping an eye on the time. I don't want that time to get below 20 before we finish this line work, so trying to keep a close eye on it. Okay, so we got the blade there. And the barrel is not remotely lined up with the spin on this, so let's see if we can't fix that, because come on, we can get some basics correct at least. Loose line of where I want the outer edge to follow. But like, really more of like these alternating curves. What I think we ended up going with. It'd be great if they were equal sized. Suppose the pivot's going to end up being around here somewhere. Guess the bullets go on the outside. That's sort of the point, isn't it? So then removing this, sort of have. Well, is that the point? I guess this is supposed to be wide enough around that you can do that. I'm sure there were many different designs of revolver and such, and most of my experience for this particular type of weapon comes from the Nerf variety, i.e. not exactly helpful for proper schematics, which is probably for the best. We don't need to be giving that to every child around, just like, here, Here is exactly how to create this before you have the proper training or knowledge to use one responsibly. As you know, with the proper training and safety and everything, I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure I'd advocate giving them to children still. But for adults. I have no idea if that's a hot take or not. I suspect it depends on who I'm talking to. Oh, the curve. Oh, wow, yeah, the curve on this one actually goes way down lower. I'll have to do some smoothing. That's fine. Get our browns back in here. Feels so orange against this particular background, which is interesting. Eight seconds left for this part. Oh dear. Really want to play up that part. I feel like that's fun. We can also play up this curve as it goes down into it. There we go. A little more authentic to the original, methinks. Oh, crud. Okay, so we're behind. We're officially behind, because I forgot this part. It's a rather important part, if we're being honest. It doesn't really function without this one. I'm not above straight line tooling that, or this. Something to help hold it on, presumably. I think that ought to be a little more nested in there. Okay, and let's put our sketch away now, because we're in the big time, except for the funny detail. I've got to have the funny detail. Thing that makes this not the most helpful as a weapon. Fine, okay. A little bit of line cleanup, as we do. Got to get them vector lines looking the way we want them to. Step one, a lot of the time, is just connecting the darn things, and then simplifying them. Not quite on that case, though. But in other cases, I suspect it'll help. Like down there, it's definitely going to help. This part, whoops, this part definitely. It's not exactly like the reference, but I actually really like the weird kickback that does. Weird that those simplify sort of away from each other. Okay. Okay, I think what I need to be doing right now is connecting rather than simplifying, so let's just jump right in here. Sort of connect some of this stuff up better. Ay. I want specifically these two to connect. Oh, fine, whatever. That makes no sense. That makes more sense. There we go. And then this mess. And then simplify the whole lot. Okay, I think I'm going to have to actually go after the control points on this, which is awkward. Try to match the curve of that a little bit. Bring this in a little. Ah, Bezier curves. Fun times, fun times. Not exactly fun times when I'm on a times limit, perhaps, but at the very least, it'll allow us to bring this in a heck of a lot closer to what I'd like it to look like. Still, obviously not like the original. But that's okay. Let's see, we are still on a time limit. I best not forget that. but a little bit of line cleanup can go a long way, especially when you're trying to fill things. And one good line is better than 100 bad ones. But it's usually the result of 100 bad ones. So you get good enough at it to do it. Hey, nope, okay. Interesting. I mean, that's going to look awkward no matter what I do at this point, and that's okay. I'm going to just accept that. There we go. Line work is good enough. Let's go ahead and, or sorry, lien work. My bad. Flats or flata. Tag nabbit. I can't type squat today. Well, let's get the flata in here. At again that slightly lowered percentage. Need to give this a little more space so I can see my tools. Darn it. Okay. Doop doop. Doop doop. Knowing full well that that's an opening and that I assume isn't. I guess I can't. I don't know for sure on that. This is going to be a whole different mess. Oops, nope. Okay, that filled fairly painlessly. Okay. I can go ahead and know that I'm going to have the darker there. Go ahead and do this one here. The flat's not too hard. Well, okay, I've got a little bit more to do in terms of liens. And then we'll get back to the flata. Mainly, I don't know, I need to imply somewhere back here. And since we're just doing quick and dirty, this'll do. Actually, quick and dirty, this'll do. I apologize to anyone who actually knows the physics behind these. I know this must be painful. But it is, back to the flata, going to be necessary just to give it a little bit of background while still looking like it has depth. And still looking like we can see through it. So, now I guess it's time for the molt layer. But it's not a molt layer, as we remember. It's actually just a shad layer. Dang it! Shade. Calling it shade. It's gonna be shade. I'm gonna get one of these layers right. We'll go ahead and clip it to the flata. And we'll get some shadows going in here, some textures, some actually interesting stuff. Got 13 minutes left. Yeah, feels like we're cutting this one tight. I realize we're only partway through, but the shadows are like a notable part of this one. For example, get our polyline going in here. Got to have a little shadow underneath this part. Just full stop, have to. Same deal with this. Could have done that faster if I'd just done the whole thing and then done like a little additional blip for this dude. That's fine. Might be easier to just go in with a single pixel line at that point. I guess would the shadow be bigger on this one? That look awkward? Yes. One. That's fine. Think about the physics and the fact that they're silly. Okay, so I'm assuming the light is, I don't know, shining from somewhere above on this. So with that assumption, let's just kind of do some casual highlight on this. I guess most of the blade would really need a little something along the top, wouldn't it? Not a ton, mind, but like a little bit. If I was smart, I would have done, well, I can see the whole thing. There we go. See, that's not so bad. And then anything above it, I can just use the fill tool and boop. Too much. Fill tool. Oh, yeah, I understand the problem now, I think. Fill tool. Less tolerance. Yeah. There we go. Good enough, good enough. Fill tool, thank you. We'll go back to normal tolerance now. Because I think I need to just take a big old brush and sort of do the whole top of it too. And looking at the actual reference, I think this whole section in general ought to be a little darker. Then it'll have the normal color as the reflection. If I were smart, what I would do is actually use the fill tool that I have. Why can I not fill this? Is it because I'm on the same color still? Okay, there we go. Then we'll brush on the highlight with maybe a slightly less bold brush. Yeah, I kind of like that. Doesn't quite match the physics of it, though. We doing on time? Uh-oh. Yeah, this is what I figured would happen, is I get caught up on this part. Always is. The shading's what gives stuff like vibrance and character, though. That's the thing. Like, that's why I enjoy it. It makes these flat drawings that, I mean, let's be honest, are especially flat today, because I'm not really taking the time to get any of the sort of physics or proportions in a remotely meaningfully correct way. A little bit in there. And like into the bowl itself. Sure. Once again, I realize that's like definitely not the word for it. The problem with the lighting and the reference is that it's in a lovely, well-lit like situation where it's probably got lights coming from many different directions to make sure that it looks as excellent as possible for the photograph, because I think this was from like an auction or something. Need to be more careful with my references, truthfully, but just in terms of citing them and such. Always gotta cite your refs. That one's like gonna have just a tiny little bit. This one's gonna have a lot more from its angle. Actually, no, this one's gonna have more. Have we just been looping the one song, or does this one... I feel like either that song is way longer than I realize it is, or it like just happens to be the one that gets repeated a lot of the time. Okay, anyway, there we go. A little bit of reflection on this part. Probably shouldn't have a curvature to it, should just be a reflection. We could have the curve up like that. Okay, how are we doing? 7 minutes. Uh-oh. Back to our larger area fills. That's fine, that's fine. Give it like just a little bit of a glint right around there. Kind of fun. And I'll give just this piece a glint to emphasize the fact that it stands out, even though it definitely shouldn't have nearly so much of one where it's at. Okay, once again, looking at the ref, the actual color of the metal down here is darker, but it also makes sense for shading, so either way we're set. Definitely fill this in. Don't know what layer that's on. Butter? Oh, I accidentally filled the whole darn shade layer exterior in, didn't I? Oh well, that's fine. Ah, the joy of molt. Okay. Or the joy of finding layers to stuff, rather. Okay. We'll give this a little bit of depth to look like there's a platform in there just by doing that. Add a little shadow here. I probably could have like more shadow variety and it would do some interesting things with this, but that's okay. We just need texture on this. That's going to be the challenge. And I only have the highlight. I don't have a darken for it. I guess we have this, sort of. Not sure that's really going to look like a darken, though. It's kind of from a different part of the color set. Looks like a glossy reflection, which actually isn't a bad alternative. Also, I'm not sure why I was trying to put the darken on the top part, where we've established we're getting quite a lot of reflection anyway, so... Ah, that's fine. That's already that one, and I assume red is going to be jarring on that, yeah. Okay. And what I'm going to do is cheat a little bit and use an airbrush. Once again, an airbrush of a darker color would really be nice on this. We've got the black, but that's just going to look nasty, yeah. Okay, how are we doing? 4 minutes. Okay, Gonna have to get creative on this. And also use a slightly smaller brush size. Really. Okay, smaller brush size on that could actually work. Just gives us like a little bit of something. And more of it at the top. I don't really... I want the wood flow, and the airbrush ain't really going to do that. I'd have to look at a texture brush for that. Which I have, but I can't remember where, because the icon for that one changed. It's the house, isn't it? Okay. Honestly, even that's not dreadful. Can I rotate this? Angle a little bit more. Okay. Don't want to save that as default. If I up the angle, does that... Okay, it doesn't change it. We can go for like a mid-size on this. Is that gonna look really dreadful since nothing else has texture? Yeah, it is. Okay. I hate to exit the palette. I really do. But I need to actually exit the palette and make a darker variant. And just hope it looks decent. It really doesn't. That's better. Doesn't solve the wood grain issue, though. I mean, not the wet blotting ink. Maybe the dry ink can help with that? Not on this. No. Pointillism, nope. Blender. Nope. Wet blotting ink. Another universe. Nope, just looks like a smear because this color's kind of bad. Okay, you know what? Let's go back to our palette. We've got 1 minute left. I think the rest of this is actually looking pretty much decent. I'm curious how it looks lineless, because I'm always curious how it looks lineless. Weaker. This one's definitely weaker without the lines. I'm down with keeping them for a more mechanical shape anyway. That makes some amount of sense. On the one hand, I don't want this to draw the eye, because it's not the focal point of the image. On the other hand, it's, you know, the Hmm. Realized everything feels like it has a little more of a tilt to it, not just from the angle, but from like the axis is a little off. That's interesting. We'd have to think about that for the future. Rough wash? Like a larger brush size? I've seen worse options. Like that. That's one of the worse options. Watery brush. It does add a bit of texture without doing too much to it. But, I mean, part of it is just the limit of this palette. That's just inevitably part of it. That's not the worst. With 15 seconds to go, I'll absolutely take not the worst. Given that that in and of itself has kind of a molt thing going on, then... Oh, well, I guess that's time. Well, you know... Okay, timer, come back. No, Gotcha. No, turn off alarm. Oh no, I'm clicking the button. Turn off. Oh no. Refreshing the page. Okay. Yikes, it didn't want to stop. Oh, now my sizing's all messed up. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, well, 30 minutes. We'll take a look at the Duel Purpose blade. I hope that the pun carries this one, because the art isn't great. It's not, a tool I'm amazingly familiar with. And, at the time limit, we just basically drew what we saw with a little extra perspective and ran with it. So this part actually looks decent, and the reflections are interesting, if nothing else. Eye-catching, maybe. The one thing I do want to experiment with still is testing this color, testing this piece right here. How does it look with the peach? It's definitely got better contrast on the green, and not just because the flats are still... Okay. Going back to the green. We'll try it again. And again, without the lines at 100%, yeah, it's just kind of rough. It's definitely better with the line work on this one. I wish I'd done a little line work for the wood grain. I know there's like that is one of the textures that you can sort of overlay on stuff through some of the paint, more paint-oriented brushes, and the texture ones there. I couldn't find it in time, and I don't think it would have worked with the angles and such that we're working with. So, well. Not the worst, not the worst. Let's see. Got one more. Got a really silly one that might be fun to do as sort of part 3 of this series, and the color balance wouldn't be bad. Got a couple silly ones, truthfully. But, I think this is one of the ones we've set up. So we've got this. Let's bring this out. And this might be an excuse to use the calligraphy brush, or it might be a terrible, terrible time to use the calligraphy brush. We're going to see. Because one of the prompts... Oh, really? This is what I did this for? My puns disappoint even me. Whoops, I didn't... Oh, actually, I should save the pure F scene. That's fine. 22 point... September, ain't it? And then it's the 19th, I do believe. Swordtember Speedruns. Okay. Now, if I really want to do some crazy speedruns, I'd be putting a, 10-minute timer on these, or 5, or 1, and doing some gesture warm-ups and other stuff. But I figured at this point, it's more, these are some fun ones that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to dedicate 2 hours and change to. So, background, the ends, shade, Lada, sketch, into the folder with you. And this one, just to recap, we got the hidden blade. I love the gold and blue colors work really well. Like green is a color scheme I love, and it works well with golds too. But I find green's a little harder for me to find nice color combos with. Man, I've got so many ideas for this one still, but I'm gonna leave it be because we said 30 minutes and I meant 30 minutes. So, getting back on this one. Now this one, I'm filling in the background before we start. Because there's only really one background option that's gonna work. Because I want to parody this silly thing. I really don't have the browns for it. Well, we can get creative, I suppose. Nobody said we had to stick to the exact color scheme of the original, and anyway, like, we shouldn't. Although I like the highlighting and shadow on this original too. So trying to think about what would work well with that. There's a thought. The other thing I'm trying to think about is how to convert this into a blade, but also still smoke. Because there's a lot of cool smoke blade ideas. And then there's this, which is not one of those. So I think I want the hilt to be just really tiny and by the mouthpiece. And then to just have it be like a blade that opens up and like a point at the... Oh, this is going to be so dumb. Okay, we've done our brainstorming. It's absurd. Let's start the timer again. One last time for the night. We'll be wrapping up a little late based on this, but that's okay because we got in here a little late. We'll make up the difference, no problem. Everything always runs just a little long in my experience. Well, not always, but, you know, work and Twitch and all those things. As of late, sometimes it's worth staying that extra 1 or 2 or 10, as this case may be, just to wrap it up properly. But I am going to take a very quick restroom and hydrate break. I recommend that anyone watching do the same. We'll be back in 2-3 minutes, and I will see you then, and then we'll get this timer going. Howdys and salutations. Y'all, thank you for waiting. I told you we'd right back in 2 or 3 minutes, and we are. So, back to our speed run of Swordtember. We're doing 3 in 1 day, and let me tell you, that still doesn't get us close to catching up, but at this point, the goal ain't to do all of them. It's just to do the ones that are fun, not burn ourselves out on the rest. And these felt fun, and I've got a few more ideas for fun-ish ones that we might be able to do after this, although one is way too ambitious for 30 minutes. But I think that means I need to trim the design idea down a little more, and not that I need to give it another 6 hours. I will learn from my mistakes, so help me. So, with that said, let's pop out the timer, get that 30 minutes going, and we're going to draw something that isn't a sword. As if any of the things we've drawn are even remotely swords. Let's be real. Nothing we've drawn is a sword. Okay, so we've got this. Let's throw our sketch in here. Oh, right, I'm on the fill tool. Cool. A little bit of sketch. We won't spend long on this. Because, as a premise, it is patently absurd. And rather fish-like. And apparently a little bit small based on how I'm currently sketching it. I get these curves in here somewhat decent. Not loving this so far. Thinking, let's take another crack at it. This tip is interesting, but it's a little too narrow, so we're gonna have to get creative with it. So, eraser, big time, version 2. I feel like the sketch is gonna take longer than the line work on this one. Although getting those curves may prove to be a challenge in the end. Okay, so we've got this. So I sort of want like a spherical-ish opening. But looking at the original, you've sort of got the pipe here like an actual pipe would be, I suppose. Of course, this isn't a pipe, it's a painting of a pipe. Actually, it's a digital representation of a parody of a painting of a pipe by someone who would never touch a pipe. So, like, how many layers removed are we getting at this point? You think we can sue Mark Zuckerberg for copyright infringement on the meta? That was a stupid joke. Anyway, and don't get me wrong, I ain't self-deprecating about all my jokes. I'm quite proud of many of them, but some of them don't land, and the only audience here is me. So, like, come on, man. This is sort of the layout we're dealing with. I want something more like this. Nope. Eraser, not W, and let's go ahead and we did use a vector layer for a reason. And this is the reason, so we can just clean some of this stuff out of the way real fast once it's no longer relevant. Makes life a little easier on the... Whoops! I needed that line. Still need that line. Cool. A little easier on the flip side. And this way we can have a little bit of smoke billowing from it and still sort of stay in the spirit of things. Then back here, we can be a little silly with it, but I kind of just want to do like old school wooden stuff. But I definitely don't have the time or energy to look up and find references and quality for anything of that sort. So, instead of that, let's just try to improvise some stuff without a ref and see how that goes. Usually badly, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be anything crazy down here. Not really the point of this one. And its frankly bizarre shape is already enough to raise questions, so. Of course, we'll have to have space at the bottom for the nonsense text. It's not nonsense, it's French. No, I can't read French. I happen to know what this one... No, I don't want to cut the layer, but I also don't want to have this crazy big hilt down here. We'll keep it, I say subtle. A little silly, ain't it? I'm spending too much time on this. We're at the 5-minute mark. Ah, no, I'm stuck in the eraser. Ah, no, 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 not again, not again. It'll do. Looks like a pacifier. You know what? We're gonna leave it at this. No, we're not. We've got to have something down here. But we'll keep it simple. There we go. Just something basic. Doesn't need to be much in the way of smoke. Just like some wisps. This looks much more like fire. Bubbly smoke wisps are a little harder to do, frankly. Maybe they're not. It does look horrible, though. Like, just gross. But I suppose smoking pipes, to an extent, actually are. Anyway, I need to get back on track. We have spent far too long on the sketch. Let's get some actual lines in here. Not with a size 20, though, that we were using last time. Let's go back to our 3. That was actually, I think, serving us pretty well. All right, sketch layer. Make it a little transparent so we can actually see our own lines. The undo is not serving me. There we go. Okay. Oh, right, I'd had another idea for what I was going to do on the colors on this. Just to mix it up a little. I think it'd be fun. And it gives us better shading options, frankly, with this palette, so... Actual highlight, but we'll leave that to the actual, highlighting phase. It is my hope that the line simplification tool is going to save me on these massive curves. Because my lines are straight-ish, but they're not that straight. Important note. Golden band. Medium blue here on out. Hey, no. Okay, we need to make this vector eraser a tad smaller so it's a little more usable. Okay, that's fine. Then we can do the wood for that's still the vector eraser. We can use this actual brown for this part. Makes it stand out a little better. Like I've said before, one quick line. I mean, I know this is common art knowledge. A long quick stroke is always going to be less wobbly than like a short, awkward, like searching stroke. But some of these curves I just can't manage with a long quick stroke with my current energy, or not energy, skill. Ability, I think, is the word I was actually looking for there, but that's fine. And so I've got to zoom in and do my best to get something decent. No. Okay, fortunately, there's not a lot of overlap or even lines in general for this one, so the cleanup should be comparatively easy because we're down to 20 minutes and we got to get back on track. Let's have a little fun with our line tools real quick. Connect, 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 especially this. I connect just these two? Yeah. Connect that. It didn't work. Okay. Connect these. I don't think it's going to let me connect them of different colors, but that's fine. And then simplify. See if that makes this better or worse. That made that one worse. Generally, with curves, if they're already pretty close, simplify actually ends up making them too angular. But if they're not remotely close and they're far too wobbly, like these currently are, then it can be a lifesaver. Like in this case. I don't like these permanent square endpoints. Like, they're just kind of hard to, because oftentimes they're the thing that's like a hangover that's in the wrong place, and it'd be nice if Simplify would remove them, but obviously it can't remove the anchor points of the line. So they just sort of sit there. Like these, and make a mess. There we go. But I guess if we connect, that gets rid of them, so that's an effective way to do it. Assuming there's something to connect to. Yeah, I'll leave that one as is. It's not bad. We can simplify this. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. There's like this tangle of these stinking squares that aren't doing anyone any good. Or there's still 3 of you. No. Now will you connect? Thank you. The squares are still there, but it's fine. Maybe if I pinch with a larger grab, like a larger range. That's fine. Okay, anyway. That's more than enough time spent on that, I think. Hold on, let's do that real quick. Then we'll get our flats in here, because shading is where this one's really gonna, honestly, probably shine. Literally. Okay, let's get our flats in. Doop-a-doo, get our green, get our green. Let's go ahead and hide the sketch layer so it doesn't interfere with anything. That's better. I'll go ahead and use just the darker green for the contrast layer there. We'll use our middle blue for this. Softer gold. Well, no, I'm leaning towards the darker ones because I kind of want to draw with highlights rather than with shadows on this. Looking at the reference, that's more where the focus was, and I like that as a concept. Okay. But it does mean we're going to have to get creative. Oops. Okay, so we've got 2 shades of green lighter, which is good. That's actually going to be nice. I think I want the selection pen for this, and a decent, maybe not that size, but a decent size. Looking at the reference. Just zoom in and nab a little bit more around the edge. That'll do. And I'm going to go ahead and do the section over here as well. Definitely going to want a smaller one for that, though, so we can sort of get the focus in. And this is where the erase selection is also handy, because I can remove some of this stuff where it's gotten maybe a little overkill. And I can add a little flare to this lower section. Now let's fill that with the slightly lighter green, or in this case, the much lighter green. And then I'm going to do the higher highlights. Lighted higher than high. Okay. Oh, and I guess one other thing I ought to do on this real quick, though, is looks like I was playing it a little cautious with those edges, and there's no need to do that. Highlights layer. Oops, no. Oh, maybe that's just the original line. Yeah, okay, so that's just the line. That's fine, we'll get rid of that. Almost certainly. Now the trick is with this highlight is I still want it to look blade-ish. With this one, kind of need to sharpen it a little bit. In fact, on even the highlights layer, what I need to do is select, not with the erase select, but with the actual select. Sort of get more of a point on this. Not a total point, but more of a point. Nope, the opposite of that. Do that a little bit. Okay, so we've got, we'll allow it to be a little bit blade-like on this end. That's fine, that's fine. 13 minutes left, that's fine. The high highlights then, similar deal, but I'm going to limit it to the far side entirely. Really emphasize blade-ishness still of this piece of it. I forgot to make it a molt. There we go. Looking a little odd there for a moment. We can grab a smaller point and really bring this down. Oh, the Warpy song. Heck yeah, the Warpy song. I don't know what it's from, but it's Warpy. This is also an exceedingly bizarre drawing at this point, but that's fine. I mean, that, honestly, is that not what you signed up for? If that's not what you signed up for, I fear you may have walked into the wrong classroom. We should know by now. If I'm drawing something, it's gonna end up stinking weird. At least for Swordtember. Like, these are all nonsense, and I love that. That's probably my favorite part of this, is that these are just silly. Doesn't work with the shadow. Even on, I assume, the highlights layer, yeah, it's gonna be the same issue. Yeah, no, we'll leave it as is. That's fine. Oops, I'm on the erase. That's why. Okay. Keep this fairly small. Sorry if I went silent there. I'm just sort of lost in thought on some of this. Maybe too potent. You know what? We're messing around with that too much. We got bigger fish to fry, I think. Maybe we'll come back to it, though. Just on the normal highlights layer. Gotta get our little gold section here. It's fairly small, but that does mean it might draw attention, so I want to make sure it looks halfway decent. Which it kind of doesn't there, but that's okay. Then the blue part. just to make sure I've got the right fill. Nope, one lighter. Well, let's go with the bright. Gonna have to clean up the edges on that a little later. So going off the original, it sort of ends up, there's like a curve here. There we go. And let's actually go into a little bit of fine point on this, because we've got about 10 minutes left, and this one is so silly that I kind of want to make it look decent, just out of why bother. We're on the highlights layer here, so I can still get this for this one too. And a little bit for the gold as well, just bringing it in. This is beyond ridiculous. Wonderful, wonderful, as it should be. Okay, then let's go ahead and add a little bit of an accent to the handle part too. Why not? Why not? Honestly, this doesn't need to be anything crazy. The light source appears to be from the front for the most part. It means the blade itself should cast something of a shadow. But this part at least should be in light. The physics of this don't make no sense. No. How the heck should I highlight? Maybe we just do a simple highlight. That's roughly the right place, but it's definitely the wrong eraser for it. Cool. That'll do. Probably a similar deal on the one below then. How we doing? 7 minutes? 7 minutes 42? And then I think we're just going to want to use the eraser to sharpen this a little bit. That's fine. There we go. That's a little better. Let's see. Interesting that the highlights don't seem to work on this part and this part alone. That like, I don't know. And it's part of this layer and it's clipped to this layer. Is it because I'm holding an eraser instead of a pencil? Yeah, that's probably it. Whoopsie doodle. There we go. This is so silly, and I can't stop saying that because I can't think of anything else to say about it. It's just wonderful nonsense. Let's just get a big brush, a sizable one. Whoops. We found some of the highlights. Let me take a bit of an eraser to this. Oh boy, we've even got some of the highlights in here. There we go. Now I need to look up the French word for sword. I'm kind of wishing I'd done that earlier. Oh, actually, first off, in the highlights, let's do one little bit. Why do I keep selecting the eraser? Like, you'd think I'd be like, sure, maybe I mixed it up with the fill bucket, but I definitely shouldn't mix it up with this. That makes no sense. What weird muscle memory am I triggering? The erase selection, sort of just taper it a little bit. Oh no, hold on. Honestly, I don't. Maybe not following the whole thing. Maybe just like a little bit down here. I mean, looking at the reference, it kind of goes all the way up. But our curvature is a little less consistent because, again, we're just knocking this out in a few moments. Erase selection, please. There we go. Honestly, maybe we just don't fill that part. Maybe we just leave it like this. I think that's fine. It gives a little more accent on the sword-ish part here. Let's see, 3 minutes 28. Okay. First off, I assume losing the lines doesn't make, well, okay. Whoops. This part gets better, everything else gets worse. So easy solution to that is I'm going to do what I call a quick fix, where I just patch this to this, and I put the color we want on top of it, and then I can just sort of color, and it'll only color over the lines themselves. It's really nice for moments like this, where I don't want to change all the line work, but I definitely want to change this little section of the line work here because it looks bad. Most important bit being this bit right here. Boom! And now it doesn't look like there's any lines at all. We're going to just adjust the line color a little bit there. 2 minutes 41 left. Cool. On the flats, let me grab our selecto. Realize this is the erase, but it means I've just got one shot. Wait, nope. Nope. Okay, maybe what I really want to do is just this. Well, really, that should be on the highlights layer, shouldn't it? Not that it matters a huge amount, but if I'm ever messing with this in the future, which we might, who knows. Let's see, the other thing is just some silliness. I think this is on the flats layer, right? Yeah. Let's see. Nope, we don't want to undo all that. 1 minute 51. I may add the text after the time limit. I'm not above that. What was this at? This was like a 12, right? Yeah. My phone's telling me to go to bed. That means we must be getting close. Let's see, 111. So I accidentally snoozed it. Oh well, we'll be hearing from it again in like 9-ish minutes. Okay. Aha, lasso. That's what I want with this. And I want to try something silly. Oh, I just realized this is probably going to look ominously like something I don't want it to. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not on this one. Okay. I'm not sure the shadows are contributing much on this anyway. Maybe a highlight would do a little more, and just a really like basic lightweight one, not anything crazy. Honestly, doing this makes it look like a bubble pipe. And while that is admittedly my preferred type of pipe, it's probably not the right feel for what this should be. Oh, timer's up. Okay, well, I've done as much muddling with that as I can, and I guess that's the end of that. And the timer mercifully ceased of its own ability, which is good, because I can't stop it again. Okay, well, thank you, timer. I think that's all we needed of you. We can go ahead and remove that. Or at least put it away for now. I think we can say that this is a phenomenally silly thing to make, but I think that's okay. And let's just have a little bit of fun real quick with the text. First off, font, we can do better than Tahoma for this, although we certainly can't match it precisely. We got quite the options in here. Honestly, Sego's script is not bad. Alright, we probably ought to drop to 20. And we're going to just go ahead and apologize for my abysmal French straight from the start. But we're going to write... Why is it like this? Why is it like this? X direction, rotate. Scale, a little bigger maybe. And text color really ought to be the dark blue if we're going to match back end of the pipe, dark blue. Also works better on this background anyway. Not entirely an accident. What is the French word for sword? Does anyone know? And I realize that pipe and sword may not have the same like gender in French, and so it's going to mess with the un and other stuff. Oh, épée, épée.
Épée.
Épée, épée. I apologize to France. Alternatively, saber. Really, glaive is for sword or broadsword? I took a different language. Let's go with that. I think it'll be more recognizable to the, I assume, primarily English-speaking audience that's going to see this. This is so dumb. Apologies to France and the original artist for this piece. This is utterly silly, but we will go ahead and post it anyway because, you know, what was the prompt for this one? Smoke. This was smoke. Dagnabbit. It wasn't even for something clever like deception or whatever. I just went for it. Ah well. That said, I do believe that's gonna be it. I can't even. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. Let's just I actually labeled this one as I went. Cool. Let's go ahead and do the traditional pop it in a folder and see what comes of it. Let's see. And here we'll make all three visible. See if I can't just do a little bit of... I don't want to break anything. I worry I already did with whatever I just did. So instead of doing that. Alright, so we got 1, 2, and 3. Well, oh wait, no. Redo. Okay, cool. Save. And we've got it. So this is what we'll do with these. I'd say 3 in 1 day is a pretty good turnaround for these. And honestly, again, quality is not the same as some of the others, but it's not bad. Like these were fun. And if I ever want to come back to any of these, like this one, I probably wouldn't want to have spent more than what I did on it. It's silly. I find it silly, and as much as I love the silliness of it, I also don't want to do it as a serious illustration because it's already like aggressively derivative of. Yeah, it's a parody of the original. I don't want to go all in on it. Whereas this one, this is whatever that is, and hidden. Hidden, I feel like this is the one I'd like to come back to sometime and do more with. But all, again, 30 minutes each, and I've still got ideas for woven and ideas for glass, which are some recent ones. And there's been more, so I doubt we'll catch up by the end of Swordtember, or we'll catch up at all, perhaps. But this has certainly been fun, and it's certainly been a little more productive. So, I think with that, we will wrap up. I'll get these posted on Twitter, and eventually we'll start posting them in the other places. I need to add signatures and whatnot. Y'all know the drill. Watermarks, can't have people turning these into NFTs, all that jazz. And honestly, Smoke is dumb enough someone might want that as an NFT. So I sincerely hope not. So yeah, we'll get these posted. You'll be able to see the VOD on the YouTube channel, link in the description below. Or if you're on the VOD, congrats, you found it already. In which case, you should catch us live on the Twitch channel, link in the description below. But yeah, hope to see y'all again sometime. Hope you enjoyed this, or at least found it mildly humorous. And have a good night, y'all. See ya.